Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Daniel, and if you're watching this, there's a pretty good chance that you've been asking yourself some of the same questions that I've been asking lately. Why does everything feel so expensive? Why does it seem like people are working hard, they're making decent money, and they're still struggling to get ahead? And why are so many people carrying debt and they're putting off retirement? They're dipping into savings, or they're feeling like they're one unexpected bill away from a financial problem. And if the economy is supposedly doing so well, then why doesn't it feel that way for a lot of people? And that's really why I started this channel. Now, before we go any further, let me tell you what this channel is not, okay? I'm not an economist. Some of you watching this probably already know me, but I'm not an economist, right? I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not here to sell you a course, a subscription, or some stock picking strategy, or some magical side hustle that makes you rich overnight. I'm just a regular guy who pays attention. I've served in the military for more than 20 years now. Worked in government. I have an MBA. I've spent a lot of time studying leadership, management, public policy, economics. I've worked in government, but I've also had plenty of regular jobs. I've worked at customer service in a video rental store back when those still existed. I've been a grocery store cashier, worked in a warehouse driving forklifts at a home improvement store. I've worked service jobs and I've worked professional jobs. I've seen life from a few different angles, and one thing I've learned is that decisions made in boardrooms and government offices, they eventually affect everybody. Whether you're a cashier, whether you're a teacher, a retiree, a small business owner, corporate executive, we're all living in the same economy. And like you, I'm living through it every day. I pay a mortgage, I buy groceries, I fill up my gas tank, I pay insurance premiums. Those aren't fun, right? I think about retirement. Hopefully sooner I can retire rather than later, but we'll see where that goes, right? And I'm like a lot of us, I'm worried about where things are headed. And sometimes I look around and I feel like what we're experiencing doesn't always match what we're hearing. So you turn on the news and you hear that, oh, inflation's under control, and you hear that unemployment is low, and you hear that consumer spending remains strong. And then you walk into a grocery store and you spend $200 without feeling like you bought much of anything. You get your homeowner's insurance renewal and you wonder what happened. You look at housing prices and you ask yourself how younger people are supposed to buy a house. You go out to dinner and you realize a casual meal now costs, what a nice dinner used to cost is just a casual meal now. So who's right? Are the headlines right? Or are everyday Americans right? And that's what I want to explore here. And while we're at it, I should probably explain the format of the channel. Most of my videos are going to look exactly like this. I'm going to be walking around Tampa, Florida, talking directly to the camera. Sometimes it'll be in a neighborhood like this. Sometimes it'll be in a business district. Sometimes it'll be a park. Sometimes it'll just be wherever I happen to be that day. There's not going to be a bunch of flashy graphics. It's not going to be any dramatic music. It's not going to be any fancy studio lighting. I'm literally just using my iPhone here with a essentially a selfie stick. It's mostly going to be me taking a walk and having a conversation with you. Because honestly, that's how I prefer it, and I feel most comfortable doing it that way. I think sometimes the best conversations happen when people just slow down, take a walk, and talk about what's really going on. And who knows, maybe the places that we're walking through become part of the discussion. Maybe we're talking about housing while walking through a neighborhood where home prices have doubled. Maybe we're talking about insurance while standing in a state that's dealing with some of the highest insurance costs in the country. Maybe we're talking about small businesses while walking through a local business district. The goal is to connect economic stories to the real world instead of just staring at charts all day. Now, one thing that's important to me is that this channel isn't going to be about political teams. Government policy matters. It absolutely affects the economy. But I'm not interested in turning every conversation into Republicans versus Democrats. Most people don't care about political talking points when they're standing in a grocery store comparing prices. Most people don't care about partisan arguments when they're trying to save for retirement or pay for a major car repair. People want to understand what's happening right now. I mean, it's information overload, and that's what I want to focus on. We're going to talk about inflation. We're going to talk about debt, housing, jobs, retirement, consumer spending, business trends, and choices that companies are making to adapt to what's happening with the economy. So, I mean, some of my videos, they might be optimistic. Some might be concerning. Some might challenge things you think you know. But my goal is to keep the conversations grounded in facts, in common sense, and in real-world observations. And honestly, I don't claim to have all the answers. If I did, I certainly wouldn't be out here walking around with a camera talking about the economy, right? What I do have is curiosity. I have a willingness to ask questions. And I have a genuine interest in understanding what's happening around us. And I'd like to hear what you're seeing too. So tell me where you're watching from. Tell me what's affecting you most right now. Is it housing? I mean, whether it's mortgage, or are you renting, or do you have roommates? Is it food prices? Is it insurance, debt, retirement concerns? Whatever it is, I'd love to hear about it, because the economy isn't just numbers on a spreadsheet. It's the way we live, the choices we make, the opportunities we have, and the future that we're trying to build for ourselves and our families. And that's why I started this channel. So thanks for being here. Thanks for watching my very first video. We'll see how far this goes, right? And I'll see you in the next video.